Giant Science, issue number 0.1. Welcome to Giant Science, the experimental video webcomic that combines my Giantess comics with my science comics. I got the idea for this from a dream. In the dream, I was living at my previous address when suddenly I came up with the idea for Giant Science. After waking up, I decided to do the comic in real life, if this is real life. If Giant Science becomes a massive success, I'm going to maintain that new way of doing comics. If not, I'll just keep doing what I'm currently doing with my comics, until I come up with another crazy idea. That's it for the introduction. Peace the Giantess out, and peace the science out.
The Science Dimension Preview Comic. Science If You Want a Better Way of Life. Written and illustrated by Ewell Tolbert. Introducing the Science Dimension, the world as it could have been and should have been. It's a world where science dominates nearly all parts of popular culture and society. It's a world that's been taken hold by a scientific revolution. It's a world that's far from perfect, but it is a lot better than the world as we know it, at least according to the opinions of some. So now, let's focus on some of the people who are part of the Science Dimension. First, we have 45-year-old Aprilyn Masonic, multidisciplinary scientist with expertise in physics, regenerative medicine, and computer science. She is co-host of the Science Show, which is based in Why Can't I Be, New Mexico, and is broadcast on the CAT, or Corporation for American Television Network. She's hosted this top-rated primetime science program since 2000. Then there's 30-year-old Nina Hertz-Russell, Aprilyn's new co-host, who also has expertise in physics, regenerative medicine, and computer science. Next, there's 41-year-old Jake Coletti of Tucson, Arizona, who has just been revived from a 20-year-long coma. He will soon begin a campaign to abolish the Science Dimension. Last, there's Magneto Yacamarzo, age 32, and Dexter Forcefield, also age 32, who are time travelers from the year 2092. They've been time traveling for a while in their 2081 Delorbiton flying car modified for time travel. For our purposes, the Science Dimension begins in late July of 2010. This is when Nina begins her co-hosting job with Aprilyn. Not long after her science show debut, Nina becomes a media darling, appearing in such major publications as Scientific American, People Magazine, Discover, and Time Travel Magazine, formerly Time Magazine. In Tucson, Jake is at home from the hospital with his mother, Terry, age 65. Jake is catching up on the last 20 years while watching TV in his bedroom. The brain damage that he sustained from the car crash he experienced was effectively treated using a new and highly advanced form of regenerative medicine. Back in Why Can't I Be, Aprilyn expresses concern to her husband Vic, age 42, about their youngest child, Voyager, age 14. Voyager, ironically enough, has anti-science views which have intensified in recent months. By September, Jake is finally out and about. At a Tucson bar, he runs into his old college buddy, Neil Nakusa. Jake tells Neil how dismayed he is at how the world has changed because of the scientific revolution. In Antarctica, Nina and the Science Show crew report on the progress of a new nuclear fusion-powered prototype carbon capture device there. This modular device not only removes CO2 from the air, but it also stores the CO2 captured so it can be recycled later. Elsewhere, Jake and Neil begin their efforts at getting the anti-Psi organization back in operation. Jake later ends up getting a job teaching elementary school kids about life 20 years in the past. Since he has a fresher memory of those times than most, certain educators thought his insights would be educational. In more recent times, rumors about the animosity between Aprilyn and Nina circulate. These rumors turn out to be true. Apparently, Aprilyn has attained some sort of jealousy toward Nina because Nina is the younger science show host who could take her place, while Nina seems to feel that she can do the science show effectively without the older Aprilyn. October 2010. After another live science show broadcast, and after another altercation with Nina, Aprilyn drives over to a nearby bar to get her mind off her latest conflict with her co-host. That's where Aprilyn meets Magneto and Dexter. Despite their truthful and outlandish introduction, Aprilyn easily believes her claim that they are time travelers from the future. Aprilyn, Magneto, and Dexter spend the next hour or so talking about time travel facts and figures and other related scientific issues. For example, they discuss the fact that time travel involves parallel universe travel. When one goes back in time, one enters a parallel universe. As such, changing history actually involves interaction with the events of another universe, while the path of the time traveler's universe of origin remains unchanged. Later on, Magneto and Dexter take their DeLorean time vehicle and follow Aprilyn to her house as she drives her fuel cell powered 2005 Levitator, one of the first flying cars to be mass produced. Once at Aprilyn's house, they place the time vehicle in the garage. A few minutes later, Aprilyn introduces the time travelers to her family. In addition to her husband Vic and son Voyager, her family includes 16-year-old Massey and daughters Kimberlyn, age 19, and Angelin, age 17. Although the Masonic clan is stunned at Magneto and Dexter's surprising revelation, they are able to grasp the strangeness of the situation. Voyager, on the other hand, is quite doubtful when it comes to time travel and other advanced scientific concepts. In any event, Aprilyn still has a considerable rival to contend with. Jake has yet to recover from Future Shock or Future Spock, and two time travelers make their appearance. Those may not be the kind of experiences you are used to, but those are the kind of things that can happen in the science dimension. Giantess Kitty Lynn, It's Just an Illusion. Written and illustrated by Yule Tolbert. One day, a barefoot woman named Kitty Lynn takes a walk in the desert outside of the town where she lives. While on the walk, she climbs a hill that she's never seen before. At the top of the hill, Kitty Lynn discovers a tiny village populated by 1.3 centimeter tall gnomes. Kitty Lynn soon picks up one of the gnomes to take a closer look. Indeed, she is able to confirm that she has encountered tiny gnomes and that one of them is now dangling between her fingers. The other gnomes begin to attack Kitty Lynn to get her to release their compatriot. Though Kitty Lynn tells them she means no harm, the gnomes continue to attack her bare feet with any and all the sharp implements they have. At first, the gnomes' attack feels slightly irritating to Kitty Lynn, but later, the attack becomes quite painful for Kitty Lynn, and when Kitty Lynn demands that the gnomes stop their attack, the gnomes demand that Kitty Lynn release one of their brethren. Kitty Lynn doesn't want to hurt the gnomes, but she also knows that she should release the gnomes she's holding. So to deal with that dilemma, Kitty Lynn walks away from the village with the gnome she's holding. After a brief walk, she puts the gnome down and tells him that he's free to go home. But the gnome tells Kitty Lynn that it's too dangerous for him to walk back. That said, Kitty Lynn picks up the gnome again and takes him back home. But as Kitty Lynn approaches the gnome village, she encounters a small dog. The dog then bites one of her feet and thus totally incapacitates her. Soon, a large group of gnomes converge on Kitty Lynn to attack her right foot as the dog continues to maintain a grip on her left foot. But then suddenly, as it often happens in such outlandish tales, the whole gnome dog bite thing was only an illusion. How this illusion came to Kitty Lynn is a complete mystery. But now that the illusion has ended, Kitty Lynn leaves the desert and heads for home. The end. Giant Science, copyright 2023, Yule Tolbert / Time Like Line Productions, Incorporated.